I am not claiming to define Judaism, any kind of definitive definition. My interest is in something very specific. And for the purposes of this book, I define Judaism in a very specific way. So for the purposes of this book, I define Judaism as the Jewish way of life governed by Torah law. What do I mean by that? So for most of its history, the Jewish way of life has been characterized by adherence to a litany of practices, which affect a Jewish person from the time he or she wakes up in the morning until they go to sleep at night. I would say from cradle to grave, right? The entire life experience of a Jewish person historically has been characterized by adherence to the laws of the Torah. What do I mean by the laws of the Torah? So the first 5 books of the Bible, of the Hebrew Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, are filled with laws, filled with do's and don'ts, things that a person is prohibited to do and things that a person is prescribed to do. And these affect things such as what a person should be eating, what a person shouldn't be eating, various holidays, the various Jewish holidays, the Sabbaths, so prohibited work that's prohibited on the Sabbath, with whom a person can marry, whom a person can have sexual relationship with, civil law, criminal law, ritual laws of all sorts. In the time of the temple, cultic law, how sacrifices were to be offered, ritual purity. There's just an endless number of laws which guide a Jewish person's life. And this has been so historically for much of Jewish history. The question that I'm asking in this book is, when did this begin? When did regular, ordinary Jews, the masses, begin to keep these laws? When did they first come to know of these laws? When did they acknowledge these laws as authoritative? And when did they actually put them into practice? That's the question that I'm asking in this book.
That's the question. And the Jim and Terry Show specializes in, if anything, asking questions. Hopefully the right question. Hopefully questions that spur thought, spur investigation, I wonder why he's asking that question type questions. Questions about questions. If there aren't more questions, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy with your dogma, don't change a thing. If you're happy with the way things have unfolded, keep going. My question is about the truth behind some of the claims, and that's where I'm at. Some people call the process of exiting a faith tradition, whether that's Christianity or Mormonism, well, some people say that's a branch of Christianity, or whether it is other traditional faiths such as Judaism or Islam or any other belief system. Deconstruction. How you got to where you decided you were not happy with the answers to your questions, and how you got to the place where asking questions became more the way you would like to live your life. Where nothing is out of bounds, where you have to accept nothing on the face value of it. And by face value, I'm simply referring to ancient texts, believing somehow that the ancients, whether this is an Atlantean conspiracy theory, the ancients knew more, or the Peruvian pyramids, the ancients knew more. How did the Egyptians levitate those blocks? Maybe we don't know everything exactly because nobody's got a video cam, and even then, would we believe what we saw? Or is it like the UFOs, where you get only blurry frames, and what was that? Yeah, what can you know for sure is really an epistemological question. My concern is simply that we're not free because of dogma, because of politics, because of religion. We're not free to really ask the hard questions. So here's the hard question by Dr. Jonathan Adler. And his specialty is in archaeology, biblical archaeology, which he has attained certification and experience in fields in Israel. So he's asking questions about when. When from the archaeological evidence can we see Judaism being practiced en masse by the people, the hoi polloi, the commoners? When did it start to filter down from whatever priestly caste there was, whatever the hand was that was guiding these documents, to the people, so that it affected their regular lives, so that it affected the way they conducted their daily routines from sunup to sundown? When? And the answer seems to be somewhere in the 2nd century before Common Era, or BC. And my question is, what is the evidence for this claim? And as with any scholarly work, and this book, I believe, is 2022 in publication. I don't know if there's anything new or revisions, but it was the latest summation of current archaeology, the state of current biblical archaeology to support Jewish claims to territory. Of course, you would want to be able to establish how long Jews have been in Israel, in Palestine, because that's the basis of all the conflict that's going on now. Who are the Jews? Who are the Arabs? When did the conflict have its antecedents? Why is it continuing today? Some of these answers may be found in the material culture left by the developing nation state of Israel. But the earliest that we seem to find some cohesive artifacts, cohesive material culture that represents Judaism as we would know it today, recognized by rites and rituals. How many laws were written in the Jewish tradition, added to and embellished over years to get to the point where Jesus said it was an encumbrance following these traditions? When your whole life is prescribed or prohibited, I guess it's either or. You are told you must do certain things, or you are told you must not do certain things, because if you do or do not, well, didn't Paul sum it all up? There is no health in me. Woe is unto me. The things I want to do, I cannot do or choose not to do, and the things that I should be doing, I don't do. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. There's something wrong when you frame life with proscriptions and inhibitions or restrictions. And I think that's the basis of modern scholarship, is to say, let's sort fact from fiction. Let's sort claims from evidence. Let's sort, and this is where I really come to my theme, history from story. History which is evidence-based, not in history that you can find in other manuscripts, but history that you can dig up, find material evidence, understand what the significance of those inscriptions are, what those statues mean, what those plates, bowls, wine kegs, what they all signify in terms of belief from the material culture. Sorting out history from story is one of the important themes of this investigation by Dr. Jonathan Adler. The book, I think I've got it here, is called Origins of Judaism, an archaeological-historical reappraisal based on the Anchor Yale Bible Reference Library documents. And again, it seems like it's been revised to 2024. Or maybe he was speaking about the book in advance. I'm not sure, but it was listed on Amazon in 2022. The site I'm looking at now on Amazon says 2024. So whatever it is, 2022, 2024 is sort of cutting edge. It's sort of where we are at in terms of scholarship. It's all about the digging, and it's all about separating history or historiography based on documents and textual analysis to the material, culture, and archaeology. Not that we will ever know definitively one thing or another. We may, but we may not. But such as we can know, such as is revealed so far, what can we say? We can say that there is a reason to have a narrative about a uniform Jewishness for thousands of years in the area we know as Israel/Palestine in the Middle East. That is reasonably a political agenda. It is reasonably a cultural agenda. It is reasonably an agenda that separates your people from other people, and that includes all the practices that define the culture. When do we find evidence that these were being practiced? From circumcision to the way they celebrate Passover, to all the rituals and definitions of what it means to be Jewish. All of these things happen in a context. And if we understand human nature, human growth and development, and accept an evolutionary framework, that time is required for a lot of the stuff. Did Moses write the Pentateuch? It used to be the stuff I was taught. No, he didn't. That's the stuff of current scholarship. Do we know who and when? We know that there were multiple authors of the 5 books of the Bible. Do we know that they are the absolute inspired jot and tittle kind of variety handed down to Moses in clay tablets on Mount Sinai? Mount Sinai. I was going to say Mount Ararat, but that's another tale. Another tale. History or story, separating fact and fiction. And that, when I say all of this stuff, it is not to poo-poo or in some way take away from the value of storytelling and narrative. And a songwriter values storytelling, values putting stuff into song. Is it necessarily history that will be dug up at some point and given as evidence? Will someone find my book, The Grace of Uncertainty, a journey past dogma into agnosticism, dug up from a library somewhere, the Metro Reference Library in Toronto, or the ruins of the house that I'm currently writing the book in? Will someone find the material culture left behind to prove that there was such a thought process? Maybe in the digital world it'll all be saved as zeros and ones. The Grace of Uncertainty is where I'm coming from. The book is available in podcast form as I go and explore the topics. This is sort of where I'm at, asking questions and being unsure of the answers, and hoping that most people will find, as I do, that there is grace, more love, more compassion, more long-suffering, more of the good stuff when you are less sure of where you're going. So the old song, I know where I'm going, biblical, or is it? Jim and Terry Show signing off. The Terry without the Jim. Looking forward to more discussions in the Hobbit Hole with my good friend when he's better. Stay well, Jim. Bye-bye for now.